Welcome back to the Blurb Breakdown with Taylor and Megan, where we break down and dive into the book blurbs, the good, the bad, and the cringeworthy.
Fair warning, this podcast is rated R for mature content, strong language, and spicy discussions. If you're not ready for swoon-worthy scenes, steam, and unfiltered bookish opinions, proceed with caution. Otherwise, grab a drink and join us. Welcome back to the Blurb Breakdown. I'm Megan.
And I'm Taylor. Today we're covering Throne of Glass on our first episode, chapters 1 through 25. It's a great book. We both really loved it. It's about Celaena Sargothian, an 18-year-old assassin who has spent a year in a brutal prison camp. She's unexpectedly offered a chance of freedom on one condition. She must compete in a deadly competition to become the king's champion. If she wins, she'll serve the corrupt king for a few years, and then she supposedly will be free. As she trains under the watchful eye of Prince Dorian and the captain of the guard, Kael, she uncovers dark secrets in the castle, ones that hint at ancient powers, mysterious deaths, and something evil lurking beneath the surface. So let's dive in.
Awesome. Thanks for that great breakdown, Taylor. Diving into chapter 1, we are introduced to Celaena. She is Otterland's assassin. She is serving time in Andovier's salt mines, which is like a prison camp situation.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they're sent there and they just mine salt. Like, that's their only job.
Okay.
That has got to be miserable. I could not imagine.
Yeah, no way. No thank you.
Mm-mm.
But chapter 1, we are also introduced to Kael, the captain of the royal guard, and we are introduced to Dorian, the crown prince of Otterland.
Yes, that's so exciting. What are they doing there?
Good question. Because we learn pretty quickly in chapter 2 that most prisoners do not survive in Dovier for very long. I also learned that Celaena did try to escape once after snapping and killing her overseer in 23 other centuries.
Yeah, they allowed it to happen. They were given strict instructions by the king of Otterland to keep her alive as long as possible so that she could reap the benefits of being in Endovier, which we know there's no benefits. He wanted her to suffer to the fullest extent.
Yeah, and I'm like, what did the king have to do with Celaena?
Yes. So she goes to talk to Dorian. She's pulled away from her mining. Yeah. And Celaena goes to talk to Dorian, and he propositions her, saying, I can give you freedom, and this is what you have to do for me. We'll find out in just a second what it was, but he offers her that, and she's like, hell no. And she goes after him. She's like, absolutely not. Kael grabs her and stops her. But Celaena knows she's got a little bit of leverage because they need her. And they know that they won't do anything. They won't hurt her.
Yeah, so, I mean, Celaena does plan to escape once they get her beyond the wall, no matter what. So that's why she's like, okay, I'll go with you guys. Because in her mind, she's just planning how to get away from them. And if they can get her out of Endovier, she thinks that this will be easier. Yes, it'll be a much easier way out.
And she's the assassin. She's killed way more people than, like, way worse people, than what they are. So in her mind, she's like, just get me out. I'll do the rest because I'm getting out of here one way or another.
Yeah, exactly.
So in chapter 3, we find out that Dorian's proposition is that the king is trying to look for a champion and that the king has planned a competition, Hunger Games style, to try to find one. So basically, he's got all of these people that are sponsoring somebody to enter into the competition, and Dorian got to pick somebody. Well, he chose Celaena because he knows she's Otterland's assassin and what she can do. But he's wanting her to compete under an alias because he doesn't want anyone else to know who she is or what she can do. So he gives her this, this fake name. And again, we'll find that out a little bit later. But he tells her, nobody's going to know who you are. And after a little bit of negotiation, Dorian tells Celaena 5 years. Celaena says 3 years before she can get her freedom. And Dorian's like 4, and that's final. So Celaena doesn't care. It could have been 20 years because as soon as she's beyond the wall, she's getting out of here.
Yeah, pretty much. So she takes the deal and she says, okay, 4 years. And so
Yes.
then we move to chapter 4, where we spend most of the time just traveling to Rifthold. We
Yes.
also find out, Kaol's 22. When Kaol comes to find Celaena before leaving Endovir, he finds her sleeping on the floor because like the bed was too uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's used to sleeping on like rocks essentially. And sleeping in a bed my whole life, I don't know how rocks would be comfortable, but to her that's what she knows. So
Yeah.
it makes sense for sure.
Yeah, see, I'm the person, like, I go camping and then I want to come back to my bed.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. I don't go camping, but
I mean, I haven't been in a while, but
I'm even that way about like staying in a hotel.
true.
Like
You always want your bed.
Yes, it's broken in. It knows where I belong.
It's my comfort spot.
Yeah. So we're traveling to Rifthold. We learn a little bit more about Celaena moving into chapter 5. We learned that she was 8 years old and she was found on the banks of a frozen river by Arabin Hamel, king of the assassins. So Arabin trains Celaena from the time she was 8 years old to be an assassin and never allows her to return home to Terrasen. So he never allows her to return home to Terrasen and instead keeps her on the border between Terrasen and Otterland. Because I think in most places, the closer you get to a border between two countries or two states, it's kind of desolate. There's not a lot of things going on. Usually the bigger cities and stuff are like farther into the center a lot of the times, and the borders are very quiet. So I definitely can see how he kept her there. And she didn't have a choice but to train with him, because if she didn't, she was going to die. It was that or her be turned over for the people that would kill her, essentially.
Yep, so he gave her a new name so no one would recognize her.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, who is she? Because he named her Celaena.
Right, yeah,
So
we have not learned who she must be.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll learn that in Assassin's Blade, because I know that's her backstory. So we might find out then. So while Celaena, Dorian, and Kaol are traveling to Rifthold, they take a little break because, of course, they have to sleep and eat and do all the things. They stop by Brandon's forest, and we learn that Aurelia used to be full of fairies before Otterland started its conquest and the king outlawed magic. So there is basically in that part of the story, they talk about how Brandon's forest was like full of magic, and that's why the conversation came up, because that's where they stopped. But we do know that the king, unfortunately, did outlaw magic, and it's no longer allowed in Aurelia at all. So it was definitely interesting to see how their world used to be as opposed to how it is now.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see where the next few books take us. Are we going to expand outside of Aurelia or not?
Yeah, definitely. So it takes them 2 weeks to get to Rifthold. And I'm sitting here, because there's a map in the front of the book. And I'm sitting here going, how? This is old times. They're riding freaking horses. Modern world problems. It's fine. So I'm sitting here wondering, how did it take them 2 weeks? But it makes sense. It's fine. Look out. Celaena, we get her thoughts about going into this competition with thieves and murderers and these bad people. And we learn that she's fearful that she's going to be betrayed by another assassin, which is how she got captured and ended up in Endovir to begin with. They basically screwed her over, turned her in. She did say that she was scared about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, who wouldn't be? Like, you have no one that you know that you can trust, and what you've gone through. I'd be terrified too, and you know that king is corrupt, so
oh yeah,
you'd be like, okay, where are we going? Why are we going?
Yeah, the fact that he's doing this competition to begin with, where these people fight for their death to become his champion, tells you enough that he's just not a good guy.
Exactly.
We also learn in chapter 6 that the overseers took extra good care of her. So after they would beat her, they would take the salt from the mine that she mined and rub it into her wounds.
Can you No. Could you
Mm-mm.
imagine that? Like salt in a wound? No.
Gosh. And they weren't just paper cut type wounds. They brutally beat her.
Yeah, like damaging scars.
Mm-mm. Not okay.
No, ma'am. No, thank you.
No. So then we finally, in chapter 7, we have arrived at Rifthold. She is coming up. She sees the giant glass castle, and I remember she refuses to go in the glass portion of the castle.
I don't blame her.
She's basically like, only crazy person's going in there. Like, throw a stone and we're all dead.
I mean, do you blame her? Glass castle? Like,
no, not
I don't
even a
know
little
about
bit.
that.
Could you imagine you're like playing soccer outside with your friends, and next thing you know, the whole castle comes crashing down because you kicked the soccer ball into the.
Oh my gosh. It's like, we used to grow up worrying about windows. Now we gotta worry about the whole gosh darn castle falling down.
The whole building. Gosh. So she finally goes in, and she's in the stone part of the castle. Thank God for her. And she's given her own chambers, which includes a bed, a bathroom, a dressing room, which I don't think girlfriend has ever had in her life, her own dining room, and then a music and a gaming room. She's got her own little house.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I'm like, I want to be you, except for the, assassin or the champion part of it.
It kind of sounds fun to be recognized as a badass, right? I mean,
right?
Do I want to go through with what she's gone through? Not really.
No. We'll take the pleasantries after.
Exactly.
She gets her own personal servant also, who plays a big part in helping her through this process.
Yeah, I really like Philippa. She's a really fun character. She has no problem telling Celaena how it is and being like, girl, what you doing?
Right.
It was the perfect servant for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Shows her the ropes and keeps her on the straight and narrow while also being a confidant for her. Somebody that she can trust to be there for her, essentially.
Yeah, completely agree with that. So we also know that this is where Dorian is warned by his father to stay away from Celaena, or at least to keep his distance, because we know that Dorian is known as a little bit of a playboy.
A little bit. And the king knows what's going on there. So while I don't like the king, I guess he had merit for what he told his son, because she is an assassin. So I don't blame him for saying that, but also screw you.
Right? It's like, I just have all these bad vibes from him. Like, no good feelings coming off of Mr. King Otterland.
Definitely. We are also in chapter 7 introduced to Cain, who turns out to be a freaking thorn in our side the entire book.
Cain. So Cain is like the big bad who they all think potentially is expected to win this whole competition.
Yeah. I had a bad feeling about him from the beginning, so we'll figure out what happens with him the rest of the story.
Who is he the champion? Is he the king's champion?
No, he is Duke Parrington's champion.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
yeah.
Duke Parrington of the Duke.
So then chapter 8, we're just moving right along. Celaena gets Celaena gets a tour of the castle from Chaol. And we learn a little bit about what's going on there. We learn about Queen Georgina and then Dorian's younger brother, Holland.
Yeah, we do hear that Holland was not a good little boy, and he had to get sent off to school, right?
Yeah, like a boarding school or something.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but didn't he like beat up his guard or something?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, he did.
So they're like, you got to go.
Yeah, he seems to be a little hellion. I mean, he's second in line for the throne. What did we expect? It's like Prince Harry and Prince William. Prince William lived the straight and narrow, and then Harry's like, I'm just gonna go do my own thing. So I guess it makes sense. It fits the story.
Yes, I completely agree.
And then while on a tour with Chaol, we're introduced to the word marks for the very first time. And I remember reading it, and the first time I heard about them, I'm like, what the heck is this? And I put a little description here. So it was near the clock tower in the gardens. It's made of black stone with 8 gargoyles on it. And the mark is described as a circle with a vertical line through the middle that extends beyond the circumference. Both ends of the line were hooked, one directing downward and the other up. Celaena immediately asked Kaol, what the heck is that? I mean, it's a random mark on the floor. So I would have questioned the same thing too.
Most definitely. I would ask exactly the same thing. Like, what the heck is that? As far as I remember, I don't even think Kaol knows what the word marks are.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I know she asked him and he said he didn't know what it was. And then she noted that it appeared that one of the gargoyles was pointing right at it. And so I'm getting chills. Are we about to read a thriller? What the heck is going on? I was so curious about what is going on with these things. What are they? What do they mean? Are they a bad omen? Like, what is going on?
I feel like it's good that we took this piece because I have a huge feeling like there's no way they just showed us this for nothing. This has to come into play. I don't know if it comes into play, towards the end of this book.
Yeah.
Next book.
Are the gargoyles in on it? Do they come alive at night? What? I remember thinking that, like, what are they doing? They having a party when we all go to bed? I don't know. I also noted that the king had the clock tower built around Dorian's birth. So is that timing just coincidental or does it play into the story?
So that would have to be 19 years ago, give or take?
Yeah.
That is a good question.
Makes me wonder, is Dorian in on what we're about to find out?
I guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah, we will. We also find out while on the tour, Celaena loves to read.
I love it when authors make our characters readers.
Yes.
I love that they love to read because, I mean, that's exactly what we're doing. That's why we're here.
So, unrelated to this book, same author, different series. Celaena loves to read, and then we learn that Feyre from A Court of Thorn and Roses cannot read at all. So it was a nice change. It was nice. I just had to bring that.
Funny.
I just had to bring that up. Hopefully, any of you that haven't read ACOTAR don't think that that's a spoiler, but it was nice. And then Kaol won't let Celaena take any books from the library, and she wants to. She's got this whole house
like it's a library,
right? So she writes a letter to Dorian, white chick style, and is like, yeah, like, dear Mr. Royal Hampton, and she writes him a letter and asks if she can borrow his books, and he sends them to her.
Yeah, fairly fast too. He sends her a stack of them and says, I want you to read these and then let's talk about
it. I love that. I love a good book club.
Yes. And it's so cute. I'm like, oh, little prince that's like little playboy actually sits down and has quiet time and reads and wants to sit and chat about what he's read.
Yeah. Yes, I love that.
So not only is Celaena there and got Dorian to give her some books so she can kill some time and read, she also describes the castle as very old and most of its halls and stairways went nowhere because she's been looking for a way to escape before the competition starts tomorrow.
Yeah, she is. She doesn't want to be there. So I don't really blame her trying to plan her escape route like ASAP. I don't blame her at all about wanting to get out. And I love how old buildings always have that mystery aspect to them, like a hidden room behind a bookcase, hidden hallways, an extra floor under the building. Like, we don't know. So
we don't.
No, she's ready to get out of there.
Most definitely. And like you said, we do not blame you, Celaena.
Not at all.
We would also be trying to find if there was a way to escape.
Yeah. Definitely. So then chapter 9 and 10, a lot happens, but it's kind of grouped together a little bit. Nothing big happens in just one chapter or the other. So people in the castle, the staff, the other competitors, they're suspecting Dorian and Celaena have something going on.
Yeah, all the girls are like, new girl in town. This is Dorian's new plaything.
Yeah, because that you said earlier, he's a playboy. So fits it. And it makes you question like why, well, they would be questioning it, not us, because obviously we know what happens. But why would he have a female to compete in this competition over a male? Because she's the only female in the competition.
I mean, that she is. I mean, that explains why her living quarters and I think you said her dressing room was different. And it's because they had to make something separate for a female versus a male.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely question it. Why does he have a female? Because I'm all, and you know this, all for female empowerment, but this was not a time when women stood in a role like this. I know it's fantasy, but given the time frame that this would have happened, it was not a time that women held that kind of power. So, and I feel bad because no woman wants to be defined as a plaything, as a lover,
No.
or this, that, and the other. And she was.
Yeah, no, very much. But I mean, I feel like she knew herself and she knew what she's capable of. So she didn't let those little rumors going around really get to her.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of just shrugged that off, and that's when we finally take her and the other competitors to meet the king.
Yeah. Yes. That was an interesting situation.
It was an interesting first meeting.
Yeah, definitely. He basically tells them, you guys have 13 weeks and you're going to be eliminated as we complete these trials. If you don't do well in the trial, or God forbid you get yourself killed during the trial, you're done.
Done. Out.
Yeah, that's puts a lot of pressure on you. I mean, Celaena knows her skills, but I know the rest of the competitors were looking at her as an easy elimination, round one, you know?
I mean, even she felt that way because she's given the alias of Lillian Gordana, who is supposed to be a daughter of a wealthy merchant and a jewel thief.
Yes.
She's like, there is no way I'm going to be able to come in here as a jewel thief and then think anything of me besides bottom of the totem pole here.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if she took that as like a jab at her skills, because she's like, I could murder you with my bare hands, and you think that I'm over here picking jewels out of people's pockets? What do you mean?
She's like, people that are jewel thieves do not get sent to Endovier, so...
No, what the heck? Oh, goodness. I didn't think of that until just now, but that's actually really funny. I'm sure she was offended by it.
Oh, very, very much so.
I remember reading through and her saying, like, her thoughts were like, what? I'm lying about this dumb thing. I'm lying about who I am. And I can't help but think that it made her feel some type of way.
I mean, it would make me feel some type of way.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be thrown into a competition and then not look like a competitor when you know you've got the skills. You like to be seen as strong, competitive, like, don't mess with me.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, we need you to tone that down a little bit.
I love how she's like a little, oh God, this is not the right word, but like a little pocket rocket. She could just take you out because she's this little 18-year-old girl. And the fact of the matter is, without giving too much away, she could take every last one of them out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is why she is our main character.
Yes. And then finally in chapter 10, we are introduced to Celaena, who we find out is on Queen Georgina's like ladies in waiting, I guess, her staff. I don't really know what she would be considered because they do call her Lady Celaena. So I don't know exactly what her role is.
She just wants to marry Prince Dorian. She wants to catch his eye and become his princess and then queen.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we are going into chapters 11 and 12, which is similar, kind of grouped in together. Chaos starts training Celaena. He has taken it upon himself to make sure she is going to make it. We are going to kill it. And he is determined to have her win these trials.
Yes. Okay, so we learn about Brullo, which is the weapons master and the judge of the competition.
Yes.
He has the competitors introduce themselves. So we have Kane, who is Duke Parrington's competitor. Yes. I don't think we learned a lot about Kane besides that he is a huge competitor.
Yes. I picture him in my head as this like big burly dude who's just like, I have testosterone.
I mean, seriously,
that's how
like,
I picture him.
No brains, all bronze.
Yeah, I'm probably embarrassing myself. It's fine. Y'all will grow to love us, I promise. We're fun to be around.
We really are.
That's why we love each other, honestly.
Yes.
Then we have Xavier, Master Thief.
Yes.
Knox Owen, another thief. And I grew to love Knox. I really liked him.
Me too.
We have Bill and Ned, who are our two murderers of the competition. Grave, another assassin. And then
Paler, the youngest assassin?
as Chaos starts to train Celaena, he seems to be very confident in her skills, which Celaena is confident in her own skills, obviously, but Kaal is looking at her like, damn, okay, you might could win this. He just thinks she needs a little refinement.
So yeah, I mean, like, obviously she's been an Endovier, so she hasn't been able to keep up with her training. That's why he wants her to refine her skills, and so he tells her that she needs to pick up a weapon.
Yeah.
And she picks a sword.
She's little.
Kale's like,
yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work out.
Yeah, she's like, nope, that is not your weapon of choice.
Yep.
Choose better.
Yeah, so then she gets
so she picks a hunting knife.
The hunting knife. And she does really well with it. We find out through the rest of the book that she really refined and sharpened that skill throughout training with Kaal. So I liked that she had a weapon that she could control well.
You don't want to be the little one going for the big.
All right, heading straight into chapter 13. Celaena meets Nehemia, and we find out she is Princess of Eel.
Yes. I love Nehemia.
Gosh, me too. Like, right from the beginning when we first meet her, she just seemed genuine, I guess. And I think she really took a liking to Celaena because Celaena spoke her language.
Yes. They had, like, their own conversations. Because Nehemia wasn't well versed in their tongues. So she couldn't really talk to everybody else in the castle, but Celaena knew her language to where they actually could conversate. And so it was like a nice comfort, and they became really good friends.
Yes. I loved watching their relationship throughout the book blossom and them really relying on each other and realizing that they could trust each other.
Yeah, completely agree. Because we know that Nehemia was at the castle at the request of her father because he wants her to learn their ways, of Adarlan's ways. Nehemia states that the libraries, museums, and universities were all burned down when Adarlan took over.
Yeah, the king came in and burned
it away.
Yeah. Not okay. And that's their whole life. I don't like that.
Destruction.
Yes. Moving right on into chapter 14, we find out Bill, one of the competitors, was murdered. He was ripped wide open. I want to know what completely destroyed our guy like that.
Yeah, it's very weird. Like they just said more like completely torn apart. Like there's no way that was not like an animal style attack.
Right. Yeah, everything's going fine, and then all of a sudden, murder.
Yeah, Chastain is murdered, and we don't know who did it.
Nope. And there's no witnesses.
Yeah,
Nobody saw this happen, which I find very odd because they all have guards outside of their doors.
Yeah.
So were the guards taking a break? Did something happen to them, like a Harry Potter type situation where they were like petrified and they didn't see anything? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, or did Chastain like sneak out of his room because he didn't want to be followed by guards? Like, we really don't have all the answers here yet.
Nope, not yet. In light of this, Celaena starts training with Nox, trying to help him refine his own skill. And we learn that Celaena has really good aim.
Yes, but are we shocked by our girl having good aim?
No. Nox
we know she's our girl. Oh, yes.
He was
that's because she's the little jewel thief. Why would she have good aim?
Right. What do we need to aim for? We don't. We get a little bit of Dorian and Kaal's backstory, because even though we are Crown Prince and Captain of the Royal Guard, they have actually been friends since they were little. They grew up together. He lived in Adarlan, and when Kaal was 13, his father moved them back to Aniel, which is where they were from. And Kaal was supposed to, as the oldest son, was supposed to inherit the title of Lord. But instead of accepting his Lord title, he abdicated the throne and moved back to Rifthold, allowed his brother to take over, and began training with the captain of the guard. At that time, obviously he didn't just come in as a captain. So he started training with the captain.
Right.
So that was interesting. That's loyalty. All to Dorian, giving up
very much so
his title to come and protect.
Yeah, right. It's not only like a duty to the crown, it's also like a duty to his best friend. Like, they've been friends since they were little. So, I mean, to me, like, Kaal's loyalty might lie more with Dorian than the crown. At least as from what we know. Like, we'll see if he can make the decisions off of right and wrong versus blind loyalty to a crown, because sometimes, you know, our captains of the guards really just focus and are completely loyal to their king and their cities.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see where his loyalties truly lie in this series. We also, in this same conversation, Celaena reveals that her parents died when she was 8, which coincidentally is when Arabin found her.
Yes, and then Celaena tells Kale that the scar on her hand is from when Arabin made her break it so that she would learn to use her left hand. And she was only 12 when this happened. Can you believe that?
Still
12
very
years
young.
old. Yeah. And forces you to break your hand, so you are now then forced to use your non-dominant hand.
I mean, it worked out for her in the end because she is able to use both very well. But as a young child, could you imagine? He's like, break your hand or I do it for you.
Yes, but do you think there's also like such a better way of going about that? Could he have found a better route to train her to use her non-dominant hand without forcing her to break it?
Honestly,
or do we think this is where her strength comes in? Like, do we all these little pieces that she's going to come into make her who she is? Because we also know that a big theme of this book is coming of age for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think he could have gone about it a different way. Hell, you could have just tied her arm behind her back, you know? Like, she didn't have to break it. And as such a young child, oh my goodness, my heart broke for her.
Yeah, completely agree.
And then touching back on her parents dying when she was 8, and that's when Arabin found her, makes me think, did he play some sort of role in killing her parents?
Yeah, that I'm not sure. I feel like we have barely touched the surface
Oh,
on
yeah.
what happened there. Because we keep referencing back, so there's got to be more to that story.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, how did they die? What was going on? I'm really curious to see, you know, how that plays out.
Completely.
Yeah. So chapter 15 and 16 kind of grouped together. We are finally going into our first trial or test, I think is what they call it in the book. And it's archery. So we know she's going to kill it, right?
And we know that she's got great aim. Like they showed that in the previous chapter when she was training with Nox. So, I mean, she's got to place first or second, right? At least that's what we would think.
Yeah, we thought, and I thought she was definitely going to kill it. But we find out she holds herself back. She's not ready for people to see her true skill. And so...
But K-Hall is the one telling her to hold back and sit more in the middle of the pack. Yes, she does not want to be. Yeah. She does not want to be middle of the pack.
That's right. I remember. Because he doesn't want her. He wants her to move up, essentially through the ranks, kind of, without people knowing that she's a threat.
Yes. Does not want a target on her back.
Yeah. If they know she's a threat, they're going to take her out immediately and game over. We don't need the rest of the series.
Right. Exactly.
Kane does, you know, he places first because that's Kane for you. And then we have a competitor in the middle of the trials try to escape, and he is immediately killed. The guard takes him out.
Instantly.
There is no, well, I guess there's no getting out alive. So if you're trying to escape, we're just going to take you out, or you're going to win the competition.
Yep. Just
no,
you got to go through your tests. Nope. And then that jumps us to 17 and 18. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Dorian has a talk with Mommy Dearest, Queen Georgina. And she expresses that she's ready for him to get married. And he was very like, I'm 19. Like, what do you mean you're ready for me to get married? But it's his duty. You take a queen, bear your heirs, and keep the line going. She does tell him that she would like for him to marry Lady Caltaine, but she is actually already promised to somebody else. And that someone else is Duke Parrington.
Yes, we do get more of Duke Parrington as we go further into these chapters.
Yes.
Okay, so, but prior to that, she also mentions Dorian marrying Prince Nehemia.
Yes.
But speaks somewhat poorly of her by stating that she is surprised the king still lets her carry a princess title.
Yeah, considering he went into Ilway and burned it to the ground.
Yeah, completely took it over.
I think it's maybe like an act of alliance, maybe. Maybe if I let Nehemia keep her princess title, they won't try to rebel against me type of situation.
That could be.
I'm not sure. I wouldn't hate Nehemia with Dorian. I think she's too good for him, knowing what we know so far.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I am a little bit of a team Dorian, but it's not necessarily for Nehemia.
Okay.
Mm-mm-mm.
Dorian does express to the queen, not specifically, but in the way he's acting, that he wants to marry for love and not title.
Yes.
But who could blame him? You know, who wants to be in an arranged marriage with somebody you don't know, someone you don't love? It makes for a long, miserable life.
Very much so. And we also learned that Dorian was heartbroken before by a woman named Rosamond.
Yes. Which could definitely play into why he's not real fond.
Settling down?
Yeah.
He's not settling down. He's just kind of no attachments.
Best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else, you know? And that's
So
what
they say.
Right? And that's what Dorian is doing. So I guess we'll see how that plays out for him.
I don't know, because, you know, Dorian does find Celaena and Nehemia sparring together, and Celaena and Dorian get a little flirty.
Yes. Celaena kind of mentioned, you know, why don't you go spar with Nehemia? And he's like, how about a private lesson in your chambers tonight? He didn't say today. He said tonight.
Yes. And she answers that she'll see him there. So,
yes.
What do we have coming?
Right. I'm curious to see how that plays out. I team K-all, but I love Dorian. I love him. I don't hate him. So so we'll see how that plays out. Are we going to have a love triangle?
I do see that's where we're headed. I guess we'll find out here soon. I mean, you and I know we have finished our book.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both sitting on opposing sides, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yes. We'll see who comes out victorious. So moving right along into chapter 19 and 20, Celaena convinces Duke Parrington to bring her to court because she is dead set on marrying Dorian, which mommy would be happy. The queen would love it.
Of course, she'll do it whatever mommy says.
Yes, absolutely. And then Celaena asks for Parrington's help to get rid of Celaena since she thinks she's a threat. She thinks her and Dorian have something going on.
And at this point, all we have gotten is flirting.
Yeah, just barely.
Yeah, just barely any flirting, because we already know Dorian's flirting with every woman possible.
Oh, God,
so.
yeah. Yes. Gosh. We also learn Celaena can play the piano. I love that.
Me too. So pretty. This scene is so emotional.
Yeah. He's supposed to be getting his private lesson, and it turns into something a lot deeper. Celaena opens up quite a bit about a past love that she had, Sam. She tells Dorian that he has passed away about 13 months ago. So like right before she went into Andovier, into the salt mines. So, and Dorian listens, and I think it says a lot about his character that he isn't trying to make moves on her, which I think is what he was expecting going to her chambers that night. But instead, he learns a big part about who she is.
Yes. So for any of you listeners that read Assassin's Blade first, you do understand and you know a little bit more about Sam and what happens with Sam. But if you're like us, we are going to be doing it fourth in the series, as recommended by Sarah J. Maas. So just know there's more on Sam to come. Sam is a beloved character. We'll dive into more later on, but he holds a special place in Celaena's heart that we get into the scene, and it means a lot for her to open up to Dorian and even share the little bit that she did share. That.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to learn more about Sam. I know that you have read the entire series. I have not. I have actually only read the first 3 books. So Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and Heir of Fire. And I'm going to be reading Assassin's Blade probably after this episode airs. I'm very excited to learn about Sam. So I'm actually glad you said there's more about him in that book. I'm very excited to learn about him and Celaena and what they've gone.
He will play an important part of her story arc.
Awesome. I'm very excited about that. After this sweet moment between Dorian and Celaena, K-all and Dorian have a moment. And K-all tells Dorian that he seems to be rather friendly with Celaena. It states that he is fearful for Dorian's safety and Dorian getting closer to Celaena. And Dorian's not having it. He's like, you know what? I think you like her too.
Do we have some jealousy? Like, oh, okay, you think I think you like her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Dorian was very quick to throw that back. Like, mind your business.
He was, yes.
It's not me, it's you. Dorian's trying to protect himself, which I get, because as the crown prince, he can't, I mean, I understand Chaos his friend, but he can't be transparent like that with just anybody.
Right.
So
and I don't know that he's even ready to be transparent and admit that yet. I don't think any of their relationships have gone that far, because she's been fairly friendly with Dorian, and she's been a little like spicy flirtatious with Chaos.
Yeah. Yes, she gives back his attitude tenfold.
I love it.
I love a spicy main character. Love it.
Me too.
So we have our next trial coming up, moving into chapters 21 and 22. And this would be like my worst nightmare because I'm afraid of heights. Okay. But they are literally scaling the castle in a unique game of capture the flag.
Like, I was gonna say, like, capture the flag.
Absolutely not. No. Strap me in and maybe, but we're not doing this.
And remember, we're in a competition, guys. Like, there are not a lot of rules when it comes to this competition.
Everything goes. And Grave proves that when Nox is climbing the wall and Grave pushes him off and then starts cutting his rope to drop him to the ground. And they're pretty far up.
Yeah, so I mean, even Celaena tries to save him. She has to make the choice if she's going to risk her life and her place in the competition.
Yeah.
Which she ends up placing 18th, only just before Nox, but she made the choice to save Nox.
Yeah, absolutely. That says a lot about her character as well. And the fact that she put somebody else before herself, because if she would have placed last, there's a very good chance she would have gone home or back to Andovier, not home.
Back to prison.
Back to prison. And she chose to forsake that. And that said a lot. It made me think very differently of her that she was willing to do that for him.
Yeah, very, very proud of her decision.
Yeah. And then after the competition, again, she's having another conversation, and I think it's with Kaol. I don't remember. Yes. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Yes. So she's having a conversation with Kaol about Erebon.
Yes. Yep. And we find out that he started training her pretty quickly after he found her on that riverbank. So she was 8. She's training. He is basically pulling out all the stops. He's bringing in tutors from all over Aurelia, from fighting masters to poison experts, weapons people. He's ready, and he's training her. And we don't find out until 6 years later that he's doing all of this with the expectation that he is going to get paid back.
Yes, that she is going to be trained and then work for him to pay off all the debt she has now supposedly accrued from him.
It pissed me off because she said that she paid him back every last dime, and he spent it immediately. I think she said within 3 hours he had spent all of that money that she paid him. And then after this conversation with Kaol, toward the end of chapter 22, we find out that another champion is dead. And he was found in the servant's stairwell. So that was kind of odd, because why is he in the servant's stairwell? None of them have, been in there. But we also find out he was brutally mauled and dismembered, very similar to the person before him.
And remember, earlier they stated that there was a missing competitor from the competition.
Yes. And that was him.
Of Capture the Flag.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I guess we don't have to eliminate anybody because somebody in the castle did it for us.
Yes.
So for all of you wondering, Nox is still here. He didn't go home, even though he was last on the leaderboard.
Yep. Nope. We still got Nox.
And then we have a feast coming up for a holiday celebrating the coming of winter. But Celaena, poor Celaena, God, she gets the short end of the stick. She's not allowed to attend.
No, so she is allowed to go pay her respects for Sam Hewen in the religious aspects, but she is not invited to the celebration.
Yeah, that's shatty. I mean, come on.
Right? I know.
So she doesn't go. And then Nehemia, I love their relationship. They are having a conversation, and Nehemia asks Celaena if she will help her. Again, that's that trust thing. If she'll help her learn to read and write their language there in Otterland. Celaena, of course, absolutely. She's like, let's do it. And in this conversation, Nehemia reveals that the marks near the clock tower are word marks and part of an ancient religion.
Yes, and so when Celaena questions her about it, Nehemia tells her to forget about it and that it was forgotten about for a reason.
Very
sketchy.
Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because then later, after Nehemia basically says, drop it, she questions Celaena on, so you really don't know what those word marks are? Which I found very odd, because it seemed like maybe Nehemia felt like Celaena should know. So that was interesting.
Yes. Yeah, because like Nehemia tells Celaena, like, you're hiding something. You're much more than you seem. So she's catching on to some secrets that Celaena's hiding.
And what is Celaena hiding? Because this book is in third person, so we're not always getting Celaena's internal thoughts.
Yeah, like what's going through her head. So as far as we know,
nothing.
She was an assassin and went to prison, and
maybe Celaena thinks that that's what Nehemia is thinking of, maybe.
That is true, because remember, like, she's Lillian right now, so
yes,
maybe
curious.
Nehemia knows that she's actually Celaena.
Finishing up chapter 23, Duke Parrington, bane of our existence, is pushing for a plan to bring more forces into Eelway. He's wanting to crush the rebels so that they won't try to question Otterland's rule again.
So that's kind of interesting that Nehemia's there, sent by her father
as the Princess of Eelway.
Yeah, to learn more of their ways. So is she learning more of their ways, or is she kind of supposed to be there to get more information about what's happening?
Being a spy.
Right. Because it's like they're obviously sending in not new ones, but more forces.
Yes, they already overtook them, so it makes me question what is going on in Eelway. That Dad's sending Nehemia, and then Duke Parrington is wanting to put more forces. I don't know. We'll find out.
We got to find out.
So then, moving on to the nitty gritty of this book, chapter 24. Celaena is in her room, and she's got a tapestry on her wall, and she notices that it's billowing as if air is coming out of the wall. So she moves her tapestry, and she finds a secret door behind it. I love this. See, I told you, old building, hidden hallways, trap doors. What are we gonna find?
Okay, if you found one.
Yeah.
We know that she follows the passage down, finds a sewer, leads to a fence. Oh, would you go down?
Hell
or would you stay in your room?
Hell no, I would not go down it. For all of you watching, I am afraid of the dark. I am not going anywhere that I can't see. No.
See, I'm afraid of the dark as well, and I would be a little bit afraid. But I also am a curious person, and I would have to know what's behind there. Yup.
So Celaena channeled her inner Taylor. She went looking. She did find the sewer that led to a fence, and that led out of the castle. So she found her way out.
Okay, so she then follows another passage and finds a room that allows her to look down on the Great Hall.
Yeah, where they're having their balls and stuff.
Yes.
So she goes in there because it's the Sam Hewen celebration. As she looks into the Great Hall, and she sees them having this grand old time. And she doesn't hang out. She just, she checks it out, whatever. She goes back to her room. And once she's there, Dorian decides, I don't know if he had too much wine or what was going on, but he goes to Celaena's room after this feast is over, and he finds Chaol, and Chaol tells him to leave and to go back to his own room.
Yes.
Then Chaol, sneaky bastard, goes into her room and gives her this amethyst ring that he got at the feast.
Yeah. You can't tell me you're not catching feelings, buddy.
Yeah. Sneaky, sneaky.
And both of them end up at her door. We do have a love triangle coming.
Yeah, we do. And I have a feeling it's going to get real complicated.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. You know, we all like it.
Yes. Who doesn't love two guys wanting them? Celaena, two hot men.
Just
It's
make a
fine.
decision.
Right, right.
For those of you that don't know, Taylor prefers not why choose. I can do
love
love triangles, but you gotta choose.
I love a why choose, but not in real life.
Yeah, like
I don't
absolutely X
share.
out.
I
No,
don't share.
I don't share. I don't play well with others.
No, no, no. Heck no. I'm selfish. We're not doing that. So finishing up part 1 of the book, so chapter 25, Celaena goes to bed and she falls into this dream where she's walking down the passage that she had gone down the night before, and she finds a tomb with a king and queen within.
Mm-hmm.
On the tomb, or around the tomb, she finds more word marks, and written at the feet of the queen's tomb, it says, "Ah, time's rift." So Celaena, she realizes this is a tomb of the very first king of Arderlin. His name was Gavin, and his wife Elena. You know, looking at this now, time's rift, and they're in a place called Rifthold. I wonder
Okay.
if that, knowing what I know, I don't think it. I think it's just coincidental, but I don't know if that ties in. So for any of
Right.
you watching, if you have a theory on that, let me know. We would love to
Yes.
discuss that in a future episode. So she realizes that it's the first king and queen of Otterlin, and she sees Queen Elena in the tomb, and she speaks to her. The queen speaks to her, and the queen says that she is risking a lot to be speaking to Celaena, and that neither of them can stay for very long. Elena says that the gargoyles, we're circling back here, of the clock tower are 8 guardians, and they guard the portals between their worlds. So the world where Celaena is and the world where Queen Elena is.
So that's what the gargoyles are. They are the guardians.
Yes.
Okay.
Wondering still why he was pointing at the word mark, and then there's another word mark on the tomb.
Yes.
So Queen Elena does tell Celaena nothing is coincidence and everything has a purpose, and that she was meant to be at the castle at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Everything happens for a reason, and that goes for books too. This story definitely has its reasons, and we're gonna find out why.
Curious. Then Elena tells Celaena, this gave me chills when I was reading it, that something evil dwells within the castle, and that Celaena has to destroy it, and that she needs to win the competition. Like, no matter what, she needs to win the competition. Then the queen hands her something for protection.
Yeah.
At that point, we weren't sure what the heck is going on.
Right.
But Celaena wakes up. She realizes it was a dream. But when she opens her hand, inside of it is an amulet necklace.
Yes, called the Amulet of Elena.
Yes.
So what is this Amulet of Elena? Like, we need to find out more information on this, because it's for protection, but from what? Like, what are we protecting her from?
And what is this evil that dwells within the castle? Is that evil what is killing all of these people?
Right. And then it's even more curious. It's like, so we know we don't have magic in Otterlin.
Right.
So this Eye of Elena is supposed to protect Celaena in some way. We clearly have some weird creature, like monstrous evil, lurking around the castle, and it's killing competitors. It does not seem like it's just killing anybody. It definitely seems like it's killing the competitors. So
yeah, I was thinking that. Why is it only killing the competitors?
Right, because like if we got some rabid beasts going around, it would, like, their servants, there's so many other people that are probably walking through the castle, especially at night. Like, you got your servants, you got your janitors, but we're not hearing about any of them turning up.
Only the competitors. So is evil killing evil? Because remember, all these people are prisoners, or, you know, thieves, murderers, whatever.
Yeah, they're in some way criminals. Yeah, so I don't know. We might have to wait to episode 2 to get some more information.
Yeah, I'm excited to find out and see how Celaena goes about competing and trying to win this competition.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see where the relationship with Kale, Dorian, and Celaena goes.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see how Nehemia and Celaena's relationship grows and more answers within there.
Yes, yes, yes.
For sure. And then let's see how the competition goes, because we are just at the very beginning of the competition.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot more to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we all know Sarah Maas in her last 100 pages of every book. It's the best 100 pages of each book.
Will literally take you out. And this book is not that big. I have it right here. Let me see. Let me see. It was not that big compared to the rest of her books. 404. So it's not huge, but it packs a punch. There's a lot of information.
Yes.
And literally episode 2 is just like bam, bam, bam. Like one thing after another. So we hope
you come back and stay tuned to watch it.
Yeah, we're gonna roll that out for you guys, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts. Definitely leave them below, because we would love to maybe at the end of this series we could do a Q&A and answer your guys' questions for what you think is happening, because by then we'll be finished with the series, so we can properly answer them.
Yeah, I agree. So let us know. Feel free to shoot us a DM anytime.
Yes.
And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Have a good day.
Thanks for joining the Blur Breakdown with Taylor and Megan.
See ya.